Thought we'd try a different flavor today. We're gonna do Helping Hands, Chilicothe, Illinois. Not a lot of extra time, don't really need anything, but I felt like taking a drive. Let's do it. So the clothing appears to be very heavily picked over, only because there are 2 or 3 people with heaping carts of clothing. 2009 M&M's, just kind of a generic M&M shirt, but it is cool. It's not marked up. But there are several people here with carts heaping full of clothes that are like kind of standing off to the side going through what they pulled. So you know that they're looking for quality stuff, most likely to sell somewhere. $5.50. That's a nice shirt. This says made in China and at $5.50. If it was vintage, I'd get it. But so this is Big Mac, made in the U.S., size large, pearl snap denim. So that's worth the pickup, especially since it's not marked up. I'm talking about other resellers filling up their carts right here. We're all looking for different stuff. I know stuff they don't know, they know stuff I don't know. Like this. This is a long sleeve shirt with a polo neckline, and that is called a rugby. It's not a long sleeve polo, a long sleeve polo shirt. It's called a rugby. And there's a 10% sell-through rate on Brooks Brothers rugbies, so we're not gonna buy it. But I wanted to comp it, and I thought it would be worth saying to you guys. Hey, look at this. Did you know that? Vintage Sean John, but it's not very cool. This is the kind of thing you want to be like loud and very obviously Sean John. This theme would be really good if that was an old shirt. Like this would be a $200 shirt, even generic, if it were not a new production. Like if this were a single stitch vintage. So shirts, pants and shorts are $2.50 each. I tell you all the time, don't bother with the Orvis, but I touched this and I was like, oh, that feels like really high quality. Trout Bum, I've never heard of that. Oh, it's an Orvis brand, but it's pearl snap. It feels like quality, and it has about 100% sell-through rate at $20. There are always exceptions to the rule. And they have a little assortment of the kitchen stuff that I like to mess with, but I don't see anything I need, except for maybe the griddle for me. Ooh, what's that? No, it's cheap. So this is your men's shirts, and then the kitchen stuff, and we've made our way around the corner to the toys. Not seeing anything special in the toys section. This robot guy down here probably isn't old enough to be anything. A naked booty troll. Well, look at this guy. I sincerely doubt that the troll is anything. I thought this would be Happy, like Happy Toy or Happy Kid or whatever that brand is. Doesn't seem to be branded at all. That hedgehog is adorable and huge. I don't see anybody else that we gotta look at. Shoes, I like the way they display their shoes. They're just super clean and nice and well displayed. But they tend to ask too much to make money on. A fair price, but too much to make money on, I think. Or not. $4.50 for some high top Vans. Size 8. So men's shirts are there, and we already went through them and all the way around the store, around the outside wall, and we're going through this stuff now. Got some cool looking vintage. I guess I don't like that because it's long, all full length. That's crazy. Okay, these triple stitch, red stitch. These are Big Mac brand, And I've sold these before, but it's been a long time since I've sold them, and so I'm not going to go off of my knowledge. I'm going to comp them. 22 listed, only 9 sold, so I think we're going to leave them. This place I've always done well in the books, so let's go that way. That's pretty cool. Boxes, 50 cents each, and they're like long skinnies. But it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot in here. I'm not seeing series lumped together or anything. I'll do some looking, and if I find something worth showing you, we'll show you.
All right, go ahead.
It's not that was brass. I was intended to think that was brass. I love these things. That's $6.50 for the pair. We're probably gonna grab those. Nightmare Before Christmas. So $5.50 a piece on 9 Harley 4X shirts. So up at the front counter just now, they had 9 4XL Harley Davidson, some vintage, not real vintage, like 2000, 1999 kind of vintage, for $5.50 a piece. And I'll interject here and say that we are running all of those Harley Davidson 4XLs and a whole bunch more stuff on Whatnot this upcoming Thursday, January 18th at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. So whatever time be 9 in New York time and like 6 California time. So this Thursday, I'm running all of that and a whole bunch more. Show's already full of stuff, so go bookmark the show and put in pre-bids and look at what's going to be available. Thanks, guys. And the electronics room. Let's see what else there is. What is that? Oh, that's a TV. Let's just lay it down. So it felt weird. Tambourine. My children will drive me absolutely crazy with that. I have done well on these like bases for phones, but it's kind of a dead technology. $1.50 for something for the Nintendo Switch. Probably it's trash. Right place at the right time. I was up there looking at those Harley shirts, and they pulled out Pink Floyd, 2 Pink Floyd and a Waylon Jennings and something else. Oh, Guns N' Roses. So I'm gonna get those for $3.50 a piece, and then the couple of things you already saw me pull, 2 shirts, and I don't know if you saw these Vans for $4.50. So if you turn your head and squint a little bit, this other Helping Hands is kind of on the way back home from that one, and we got probably 10 or 15 minutes we can spare in here to see if we can find anything else before we go get Brothers. Look at this thing behind me. It's $14, and it is 102 by 84, and it's $14. And it's like almost like watercolor, you can see, and then like they probably sketched it in with some kind of pen first. And I don't know if the tea towel is like aged or if it's actually old. So I really hate to leave that thing behind. And the only other thing we had was an Othello game. And I could take the Othello game, take the 60 pieces out, make 6 lots of 10 and sell them for $7, $8 a piece, and end up with probably $20 on my dollar investment after some time. I mean, it takes a lot of time to move them all, but it doesn't take effort. So as much out of reverence for that as it is reverence for my own time, I'm gonna leave it here. No doubt there's a bunch of money to be made on it. It's amazing, but, and it could be, it wouldn't shock me a bit if it was worth $2,000 because it's old, or $250 because it's reasonably new. But I'm never gonna do the research on it. I'm gonna fold it up and say, oh, that's gotta be worth a fortune, and eventually I'll figure out what it is, and it'll rot away into nothing. So I'm gonna leave it here for somebody else who knows what it is. And I'm not trying to go through the register and use a credit card because I don't keep cash on me almost ever. for $1. So I left the Othello game because I wasn't gonna run a credit card for $1. Hold on. So we were in the parking lot and somebody was driving the wrong way down the lane, and somebody was stopping to do donations for that thrift store, and so I just had to focus on driving. But that's going to conclude our thrift store day. I didn't know what I was going to run on Whatnot tonight, and then lo and behold, blessing comes from Helping Hands, and we get a bunch of shirts that'll be easy money Whatnot, and slow money on eBay. That's the thing, is like those Harley shirts will do well. I'll start them, I paid $5.50 a piece. I'll start them for $15, and probably most of them will sell, and some of them will get multiple bids, and a couple will go no sale, and then those I'll list on eBay, and it'll be highly lucrative, and people will get deals, and I'll have them gone very quickly. So that is exactly what I was hoping to have happen for Whatnot this week, except I'd rather it not happen at 4 hours to go. We're done thrifting. We're gonna go pick up some brothers, get this girl a bottle, and run to Whatnot and try to get some stuff listed. Oh, and I got a ship for tomorrow too. Good morning, Mud and Pop Thrift. My name's Tom. I'm a full-time eBay reseller and a stay-at-home dad for my 6 children. It is raining, snowing, sleeting, all of the above right this particular minute. Kids are off of school today because the weather's supposed to get real bad. I have 9 to ship, 10 to ship for eBay, 1 to ship for Mercari, and 3 or 4 to ship for Whatnot. So let's get into that. So the first thing sold, these all by the same author. They're turn of the century hardcover books that are all Westerns. Bar 20 is like a series. And then all the same author did the rest of these. Nothing special here. They are, I think they're dated 1905 and 1907 or something. Hoarder House books. I paid nothing for them. They sold for, buyer paid 12 plus shipping, all in at 18, and I made like $8 after paying fees and shipping. Okay, and then this was a retro truckload thing. It came with some cars in it. Sold the cars separately. It sold for $16.99. Not in great shape, but Hot Wheels collectors like to have cases that display their cars. So I picked it up for not much, and it sold for not a lot. It's going to Indianapolis, so it's not going to cost me all that much to ship. But the buyer paid $16.99 free shipping. Diablo, Callaway. Callaway's always a good name for clubs. I paid $2.50 for this. Still, it has the. If you're finding clubs that are steel shaft, they're less likely to be good because they're older most of the time. This I paid $2.50 for. Buyer paid $27.99 plus shipping, and buyer's all in at $51. So I've got quite a bit of room to ship this, but I mean it is long, so it's not going to be cheap to ship. Pretty simple though. You get a 4x4 by really long 38 or 40 or whatever, and you cut it down to make this fit. Pretty simple to do. Or I have a wardrobe box that I've had around forever, and I just cut, a sliver off of it and then make a 4x4. So you get 16 inches, you cut it into 4-inch strips and wrap it around it and make a box. Okay, so I buy cameras in big piles, and most of the time, if the camera doesn't seem to test out, I'll sell it by itself and then the pieces and parts. These are flashes.
The flashes.
That I didn't bother to test because they weren't worth very much, and some filters. So these are just camera hobbyist things. They're not high end. They're kind of nothing. And so keep losing big pieces of snow onto the roof of the barn here. These are And these sold for $9.99 plus shipping. But like I said, I bought them as part of a lot and intending to get something else. And so these are just easy to list and get sold. They've been around so long, I don't even know how long I've had them. So they didn't sell quick. Okay, so Levi picked up a bunch of hoodies, like 3 or 4 for $2 a piece at a garage sale. Keith Haring one sold. Naruto Champion crossover, that one sold. And this is the last one to sell. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's new. I mean, it's like 2020. It's not vintage. 2021 even. But it's a cool hoodie. And it's sold for $17.99. No. Sold for $12 plus shipping. This sold for $17.99. I got this off of Whatnot. 2022 REO Speedwagon and Loverboy and Sticks tour shirt. I got it off of Whatnot for nothing, and this sold for $17.99 free shipping. The Coco guitar is still inside where I showed you guys I was taking pictures of it, and it sold for $38.99. You remember we paid $30.10 for it like 3 days ago. Coco guitar. Coco stuff will do fairly well. It's one of those movies that didn't do well when it came out, and they didn't re-merchandise it, and so it's popular now, but the stuff didn't sell very well, so it's not abundant now. And Kanto didn't do well when it came out, and then the pandemic happened, and people were at home, and Disney Plus promoted that movie, and then it blew up, and it had been in theaters and then been released to home. And then people were at home and they watched Encanto, and it got enormous. And then, like, the theme song, We Don't Talk About Bruno, became huge. You may remember that. But then they started putting out new toys for it. And so the toys for Encanto are cool, but they're not valuable in the way that Coco ones are, because Disney re-released merchandise for it, essentially. This bowl it just says teak on the bottom of it, but teak bowls do well. I paid $2.84 for this like a week ago, and it sold for $32 free shipping. So, I mean, it's not going to be easy cheap to ship, but certainly there's quite a bit of margin left after I pay my cost of goods, fees, and shipping on a bowl that sold for over $30, and I only paid $3 for it. Yeah. Okay, so these are knee-high bottles, and they are pretty old. My father-in-law pulled them out of the trash, and they sold for $15 free shipping. They'll be easy enough to deal with. They'll be a little bit heavy. I mean, they're free, so they'll whatever I end up with is all profit. And then this guy, Levi, I passed on this twice at the Everything's a Dollar sale. So did everybody else. Levi's like, Dad, I think you should comp this thing. I think it's pretty cool. It's from 2009, new in the box. Paid $1 for it at the Everything's a Dollar sale, and I came home and I was like, the comps are insane on this thing. Ended up listing it for $80, and but I mean, that was 6 months ago, but I finally got an offer for $50 free shipping. So this little plushie, because he's sitting on a box, is considered new, and so he's sold for $50. It's a strange thing, but somebody wanted it. $50 free shipping. That's it. That's all the 9 solds that I've had. The sales have been way down because I really haven't been listing much. So I was focused on Vendu, trying to get that figured out. I'm not quite there yet with Vendu, and haven't been super impressed, but I haven't given them a real good shot. So I have the free version that you get 5 items. 1 sold, and it came down when it sold on Mercari. It came down automatically on eBay. 1 sold on the Hot Wheels thing that I showed you just now, sold on eBay, but it didn't seem to come off Mercari fast enough for me to be comfortable, so I went and took it down. But I'm getting comments on the video and so my phone's going off. Anyway, So I'm gonna subscribe for a month or two and give it a real honest shot and see, because I think the eBay said that they quit spending money on as much money on Google Ads, and Mercari and Poshmark are still spending the same amount on Google Ads, and so those things available on those platforms are going to get more exposure now than they would have when eBay was spending lots of money on Google Ads. And so I'm going to try to not take my foot off the gas on eBay, which has been a little bit the result of this. But once I get things going, I will continue working hard on eBay, but also cross-listing to Mercari. So far, I don't even have a Posh account, but I may end up with one, and see if I can put a herd on, keep my eBay store where it is and have a couple $100 a week from other things, Whatnot, Mercari, Poshmark, and YouTube AdSense. So that's the game plan. That's what sold today. There will not be thrifting today because it's gonna rain and freeze the rain and snow and blow wind 40 miles an hour all day. So I probably am not going to venture out. So I don't know what the second half of this video is going to look like, but you will, right?